order.
Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the Prime Minister following our lead on children accessing social media? In particular, can I thank the Shadow Education Secretary, 61 Labour MPs and the Greater Manchester Mayor for forcing him to think again. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister and I agree. The future of Greenland should only be decided by the people of Greenland. When the Prime Minister made this point to President Trump on Monday, did the President agree or disagree?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, engaging constructively on international security matters hugely, particularly when it comes to security in the Arctic, and that's the context in which this discussion is going on in relation to Greenland. As we engage constructively, I have made my position clear on our principles and values. The first of those is that the future of Greenland is for the people of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. The second is that threats of tariffs to pressurise allies are completely wrong. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to engage constructively. I've had many international calls in recent days, and the Prime Minister of Denmark is coming to the United Kingdom tomorrow for bilateral talks. But I do want to be clear with the House. I will not yield, Britain will not yield on our principles and values about the future of Greenland under threats of tariffs. And that is my clear position.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very glad to hear the Prime Minister say that. We all know that the people of Greenland do not want to be ruled by America. But does he agree that just as those in Greenland should decide their own future, so should the Chagossians?
Right, folks, buckle up, because what just happened in Parliament is the kind of political carnage that makes Prime Minister's questions look like a quiet church tea party. Picture this: Keir Starmer standing in the chamber, facing MPs who are absolutely baying for blood, getting heckled so relentlessly that even the Speaker has to step in. And we are not talking about polite parliamentary disagreement. We are talking about full-throated chaos. Before we dive into this constitutional meltdown, 98% of you brilliant people watching this have not hit that subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing, takes just 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps keep this channel going. Smash that button, turn on notifications, and let's get straight back to the fireworks.
Mr. Speaker, I've made out my position on Greenland absolutely clear on Monday and a moment ago. President Trump deployed words on Chagos yesterday that were different to his previous words of welcome and support when I met him in the White House. He deployed those words yesterday for the express purpose of putting pressure on me and Britain in relation to my values and principles on the future of Greenland. Mr. Speaker, he wants me to yield on my position, and I'm not going to do so. Given that that was his express purpose, I'm surprised the Leader of the Opposition has jumped on the bandwagon. I had understood her position. Mr. Speaker, I had understood her position to be that she supported the government's position on the future of Greenland. Now she appears to support words by President Trump to undermine the government's position on the future of Greenland. She's chosen naked opportunism over the national interest.
Mr. Speaker, we'll note that when I asked him what the President told him, he couldn't tell us. Now he expects us to believe he knows what's going on in President Trump's mind. Let me remind him. His Deputy Prime Minister, then Foreign Secretary, used to say that if President Trump didn't like the deal, it wouldn't go ahead. And let's look at what President Trump actually said. The Chagos deal is an act of great stupidity and a sign of total weakness. We didn't need President Trump to tell us that. We've been saying this for 12 months. And let's remind the Prime Minister, President Trump thought that we were doing this, that the Prime Minister is doing this for money. The Prime Minister is giving away territory we own and paying £35 billion for the privilege. Why doesn't he just scrap this terrible deal and put the money into our armed forces?
The words from President Trump were expressly intended to put pressure on me to yield on my principle. What he said about Chagos was literally in the same sentence as what he said about Greenland. That was his purpose. And the future of Greenland is a binary issue that is splitting the world at the moment with material consequences. I've been clear and consistent in my position on the future of Greenland. The future is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. The Leader of the Opposition has taken 3 positions in 10 days. 10 days ago, she said Greenland was, in her words, a second-order issue. 4 days ago, she said she supported our position on Greenland. Now she's backing arguments intended to undermine our position, Britain's position on Greenland. This is an important national moment, and yet again the Leader of the Opposition has shown she is incapable of rising to it.
Before we go any further, British politics like this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the British I Believe It or Not. Over 98% of viewers watch our content without hitting the follow button. Subscribing is completely free. So here is what happened. Starmer stood at the dispatch box trying to defend Britain's foreign policy on Greenland sovereignty. Noble enough, right? Standing with Denmark against American tariff threats, talking about self-determination and respecting borders. All very principled on the surface. Except the opposition was not having any of it. Not for a second. While Starmer was speaking about territorial integrity and the right of people to decide their own future, Conservative MPs began shouting one word over and over again. Chagos. 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 And you could see it on Starmer's face, that brief flash of realization that he had walked straight into a trap of his own making. Want to know why? Because while Labour defends Greenland's right to remain with Denmark, they have agreed to hand the Chagos Islands back to Mauritius. The same government that talks about self-determination abroad has been accused of ignoring the wishes of many Chagosians who want to remain British. The contradiction was impossible to ignore. Now back to what unfolded. As Starmer tried to respond, the noise only grew louder. Opposition MPs were on their feet, pointing, shouting, demanding clear answers. Then came the moment that defined the entire session. The Speaker, Lindsay Hall, rose from his chair and issued a serious warning. He threatened to remove members for disorderly conduct. For about 10 seconds, the chamber fell silent. Then it erupted all over again. Because by that point, this was no longer just about foreign policy. It had become a question of credibility. A Prime Minister who campaigned on integrity and transparency was now under pressure over defense spending cuts, while veterans still face legal scrutiny for actions taken decades ago in Northern Ireland. The contradictions were stacking up faster than he could brush them aside. Opposition leader Richard Tice seized the moment. He stood and delivered what sounded like a direct hit. Prime Minister, you defend Greenland's sovereignty while giving up British territory. You talk about self-determination while ignoring those who want to remain British. You lecture us about national interest while cutting defense budgets. Which is it? The chamber roared. Starmer's reply was a textbook example of political avoidance. He shifted to Arctic security, Indo-Pacific alliances, international law, everything except the core accusation. And everyone could see it. The opposition saw it. Social media saw it. The public saw it. Within minutes, clips were everywhere. Online platforms were flooded with comparisons to past prime ministers under pressure. Memes spread rapidly, showing Starmer as a ship taking on water, frantically trying to bail it out while insisting everything was under control. One harsh image showed him holding a map with Chagos crossed out and sold stamped across it. But here is the deeper issue. This is not just about islands thousands of miles away. It is about whether Britain's foreign policy makes sense. You cannot defend sovereignty when it suits you and appear to give it up when it does not. You cannot call for respect for European borders while facing questions about strategic decisions in the Indian Ocean. These are not just political embarrassments. They raise serious strategic concerns. So what happens next? Technically, Starmer's government has the numbers to survive. But politically, the damage may already be done. Trust, once shaken, is incredibly hard to rebuild. And after watching that chaos in Parliament, it is clear that his foreign policy credibility is under real strain. In the end, this session proved something important. Parliament, for all its noise and drama, still has the power to challenge those in charge. And when tough questions come, no amount of careful wording can fully protect you.
I've already told him we agree on Greenland. I'm asking about the Chagos deal. That money, that £35 billion, should go to the armed forces. Mr. Speaker, the world is changing. We are in a very different place, the most dangerous international environment since the end of the Cold War. Last week, the head of the armed forces, not me, the head of the armed forces warned that our military faces a £28 billion shortfall. Is he right?
Prime Minister!
Mr. Speaker, I'm proud we're spending more on defence than any time since the last Labour government. The Strategic Defence Review is back the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War. That's £270 billion this Parliament, making defence an engine of growth. That is a stark contrast. Ben Wallace, the longest-serving Conservative Defence Secretary, openly admitted that under their watch our armed forces were hollowed out.
Order, order, order. Mr. Bowitt and Mr. Cartledge, it is continuous week in, week out, and there's a couple over here who will also be going out for a cup of tea with you. Please, calm it down, or you know the consequence. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, they shout on a Wednesday and they defect on a Thursday. The loudest shouter used to be the former Shadow Justice. We should take a note of who's shouting most loudly this week.
Kevin Burnell.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister wants to talk about defections. Let me tell him that when I had someone undermining my party, I sacked him. If he sacked... Mr. Speaker, if he sacked...
We're going to get through this Prime Minister's questions. I want to hear the Leader of the Opposition and I want to hear the Prime Minister. Those who don't may leave the chamber. Can we bet?
Mr. Speaker, we all know that if he sacked everyone undermining his party, his front bench would be empty. But these questions I'm asking, these questions, well, jokes aside, these questions are about our national interest. These questions are about our national interest. We support our armed forces in every possible way. Later today, my party will vote to protect our veterans from unfair prosecution. He is ordering his MPs to vote against them. In our national interest, and for the sake of all the brave people in the armed forces, past, present and future, will the Prime Minister do the right thing and vote in support of our veterans, not against them?
Mr. Speaker, she's claiming strength. She read the guy's defection letter and then at that point decided to sack him. What was she going to do? Correct the typos and give it back to him? She should have sacked him when he made disgraceful comments about faces in Birmingham, and she failed to do so. And she smiles, saying it's a good thing she's cleared out, a good thing there's fewer Tory MPs. The rest of the country agrees with her completely in relation to that. On the question of veterans' protection, under the last government, they passed legislation which was struck down, leaving our veterans utterly exposed. We're putting in place proper measures to protect them.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister wants to talk about leadership. Three of his own cabinet ministers told the Times on Saturday that he needed to learn from me.
Order! I'll tell you now, I'm having no more. Do we understand each other? Thank you. Can we then? No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But back to the national interest. Instead of acting in it, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister just tries to get through the day. On the Chinese spy hub embassy, he's too weak. On Chagos, he's too weak. On funding for the armed forces, he's too weak. On protecting our veterans from prosecution, he's too weak. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I will support the Prime Minister when he does the right thing. But time after time, this Prime Minister has done the wrong thing for our country. Isn't the truth that he is too weak to stand up for our national interests?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've spent the week working with our NATO allies to protect our national security and ensure we have unity in NATO. That's a matter of national importance. She's utterly failed to rise to the occasion and show the solidarity she could have shown in this House. She spent the week trying to hold together what's left of the Tory party. And she says I should learn from her. She has no judgment. Only a week ago, she was saying in relation to Greenland, she shrugged and said it's some second-order issue. Terrible judgment. Then she flip-flopped with 3 different positions in 10 days on Greenland. She said Liz Truss's mini-budget was 100% right. She said last week she was 100% confident there'll be no more defections just before the latest defection. I'm beginning to think her judgment isn't 100% reliable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.